This is Robert from Twin Peaks, and you're listening to Inspirado, Projecto.
Got a light.
Here's your fun fact. The nose prints of both dogs and cats are unique, ridged in a pattern just like fingerprints of humans. Stay tuned to Inspirado Projecto for more fun facts.
Sorry about that. I think the internet went out over here or something.
Okay.
So we're interviewing Mike Provenzano on Inspirado Projecto right now. It's all thanks to Jules Lavely, who connected us. She said that she wrote about various celebrities and actors, and she was like, you know what, I know some wonderful actors I've interviewed for various publications, and so she passed me on to you. So it's just it's really cool. I've been looking at interviews with you and stuff. So I'm kind of basing questions sort of jumping off of other interviews that I've read. So, well, first of all, let me ask you, how do you know Jules? How did you end up coming across her? Because she wrote some great articles about you.
Yeah, I know. Well, we met on Facebook, and exactly where I don't remember exactly, but we've been friends for probably at least a year now. So we've been working together for quite a while.
That's cool, man. It's so great when you create various collaborations with people out there in the world who like to utilize their talents and put them to the test. So, all right. So you have quite a few demo reels and whether it's commercials, whether it's dramatic acting. What I noticed that you used to work in a corporate job. What was it that made you that pushed you over the edge into actually diving straight into doing some acting?
Well, I was in the technology world for 20 plus years, and it was just time for change. And it was actually a fluke that I got into this. I because of my technology background, I went and helped the construction business to basically prepare his company for growth. So I cleaned up all his computer systems and all that. And when I was getting ready to leave, he ended up buying a design firm. And one of the people that came with the company is an acting teacher. And so as I was getting ready to leave, he said, "Hey, you should check this out." And I literally asked him if he was blowing smoke up my you-know-what. And he said, no, for real. And just because of that conversation, I went to an open call locally, and the director looked around, and there was about 50 people there, and said, "We're going to invite 4 of you to our school." And I just happened to be one of them. So that's kind of how it started.
Wow.
It was something I wanted to do in my 20s, but I don't really think I had the confidence, the life experiences. I don't think it was the right time, and now I feel that it is.
It's cool that you just, you followed your calling and it led you in this direction, and you felt the calling so much that you just go, you know what, we're just going to dive headfirst into this thing and see what happens. What was the first project that you found, like, after taking that acting class? Did it happen soon after? I mean, what happened with that process?
It was, the school was about, 3 or 4 months long, and I got signed with an agency in the Philadelphia market, literally the day I graduated. And I would say within a month, I had my first print job, because I do acting, I do modeling, I do voiceover, so I kind of touch it all. But my first job was a modeling job, a lifestyle job for a corporate campus out in West Pennsylvania area, and it was a lot of fun. It was my first experience, and you don't know what to expect when you're when you're doing something for the first time. But it went really well, and for somebody to tell you that, hey, you have a good look on camera, and honestly, I was like, really? I never thought that personally, because you never look at yourself that way. But when you hear it a couple times, like, all right, there must be some truth behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I literally went from, print model stuff almost right into, infomercial work. And that kind of like got me started, and I felt like the commercial side of it was what was really is what really took off for me. And but I'm enjoying doing each of them. So I'm doing some legit work. I'm doing spokesperson work now, which is really fun. I'm just having a blast getting, I feel really blessed that I get to do this, and I get to meet so many different people throughout the process.
Now the one thing I want to know is, what is some of the advice that you've learned from some of the teachers you've had concerning how to best sharpen your acting style or skills? What would you say are some of the teachers, and what are some of those wonderful nuggets that you've learned from them?
I mean, I'd say the biggest thing is don't overact. That's the one thing a teacher / pretty big, pretty dedicated and very very well known director up in New York. I took a class with him about a year ago, and he said the one problem with actors is they overact and they don't be their genuine self. And granted, when you're playing a role, you have to play the role, but he said a lot of people just go too far. So be yourself. And so I took that to heart, and I try not to be something that I'm not, that comes off fake, so that's one lesson that I learned. And that was probably the biggest one. Just be yourself. And then always have a backstory for what you're doing as, in a role. So if I'm playing a cop or a detective, I need to have in my head what type of detective I am. What kind of past that I have. What has me acting out the way that I'm acting now. So those two things I think are really important. But honestly, I've learned things from teachers. I've learned just as much from other talent in the industry, whether they're actors or directors or producers. I'm for me, I'm somebody that takes criticism very well, and I know that I'm not the smartest or the brightest in the group, but I do know that I know how to take action, and I know how to get things done. And my operations background in the corporate world has taught me to listen to others, because everyone has something to offer everyone else. And I think that's what I've learned the most.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a really good piece of advice. Now, having said that, because listening is such a huge part of it, have you ever taken improv classes?
Yes, actually, the film director class that was up in New York, that was an improv class that I actually took.
Improv is
that's pretty cool.
Isn't that great? Because it helps you get out of so many crazy little situations that you might find yourself stuck in. You might forget a line. However, you might just suddenly know to do this particular gesture, and then all of a sudden maybe it comes back to you, or you come up with something new that's just as appropriate. How important do you think improv is to the acting experience and the ways in which you apply it just in your daily life?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, the one thing I've told people is, I've been acting my entire life. Now I'm just doing it on camera.
Right.
Right. So, when I first started doing improv on camera, I was kind of like nervous about it. I wasn't really sure. It's just, hey, can I do this? And then I did my first one, and then I did a second one, and I was like, this really is pretty cool. It's not as hard as people make it out to be. Sometimes it's harder because you think it's harder than it needs to be. But if you just go with stuff, I mean, granted, there's certain projects that you have to the dialogue's got to be word for word. Some commercial stuff is just very specific. That if you goof up, you got to do it again. So improv doesn't apply. But for film, it definitely does. And the one thing I've learned about directors is they don't say cut because the scene, quote unquote, has ended. They let the actors finish the spot, because you never know what you're going to get. You may get something that's so special that they didn't even see coming.
Well, and it seems like that, if when there's that comfortability on set where each actor is and every crew member is allowed to be in their elements, just exactly, in the ways where they can really stretch their expertise and creativity, it seems like there's so much more room to breathe in terms of imagining new things and testing out stuff and experimenting a lot. Do you notice that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, that's the one thing. There's a bunch of things that I've noticed, but the nice thing is directors kind of know what they're looking for. They know what they want. And I've been lucky enough to work with people that are like, go ahead, just see how it feels. Let's just, we've already got what we need, but let's do it again and see what else could come.
So it sounds like you're able to get a pretty good rapport with people. Do you find yourself working with some of these similar directors on other films?
Some short films I've done, I've worked with people over and over again.
Isn't that the best? You form a friendship, you form a collaborative, relationship, and it's like, okay, zip, zip, zip. We see this all the time with a lot of directors. They want to work with the same kind of folks. So you found that kind of often?
I would say often, but I've found it a few times, and especially in the infomercial world, I have some clients that they just call me routinely to say, "Hey, are you available?" And I've got a couple directors that are in the same category with me, and understand I've only been doing this for about 3.5 years, and for me to already have a couple relationships like that, it's awesome.
Well, yeah. And this is just a wonderful example of someone who is just simply following their heart in a direction that's just taking them in that direction and not overanalyzing it, not being overcritical. Because, look how far you've gotten in just the short amount of time. If for any of you guys who are listening to this, go to Mike Prov, which is funny because here we're talking improv. Mike, MikeProv.com. And you could see his gallery, which is just a whole bunch of photos and demo, lot of reels on there, which is just really cool. I noticed these are some of the ones that I've noticed is that you play a lot of fathers, doctors, businessmen, authorities, helpful people, and people who deal with heavy issues. Do you find that? Do you find that some of these are reflections in your own life, that you have been, the person who's there to help people and maybe to be sort of like the go-to authority type of figure? Have you found this in your real life?
Well, because I was, in the corporate world, and I was typically a manager, most of my career, I've definitely found that, I take those experiences to here. You know what I mean? And I feel very comfortable doing that. I'm a father of 4, so I have no problem, playing a dad. I haven't been a doctor before, but I don't, but I've played a doctor on camera.
So do you, for those roles, let's say for instance, a doctor, are you like, because it's not like, are you finding yourself online looking at doctors' manuals or like what are some ways that you would prepare for that kind of character?
Well, I've done a few things. I watch TV, and I watch TV a lot differently now than I did, a few years ago. So I really pay attention to other actors and how they, play a role. I do a little. I always do research behind a role that I'm going to play that I'm not sure about. And one project I did where I had no dialogue, I played a man with early onset Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And that one I did some research for. I had an uncle who had dementia, so it was kind of close to my heart. And it was a great experience for me, to the point where some people said that brought tears to their eyes, which I thought was really, really cool.
It's interesting. It's because that was one of the things I was going to bring up too, is that it's a plot twist. It's like a Twilight Zone episode, because as I'm watching it, I'm expecting it to be the older guy, the father. Yeah. And so like it was such an interesting turn of events when you see that they're leading in this quiet guy, and it's like, oh, that's what's it's like, yeah. It is such a sad thing. I've dealt with that with some family members too, and it's like, how do you not recognize me, or how are we, like, we share stories together, and so yeah, I bet that must have been a pretty heavy one, just to deal with that on set.
And thankfully most of it was, in the car, and I was kind of just really trying to be out there, not really with it,
Yeah.
And it was a really fun experience too. At the same time, it was tough, and you draw on your personal experiences if you have them. And thankfully my uncle wasn't at that state when I did that filming, but like I said, it was a really great experience for me.
Do you how many of the roles that you've gotten so far on some of these projects, how many times have they given you time to rehearse it and kind of experiment a little bit with it?
I'd say most films give you, obviously they give you a little bit more time than commercial work. Commercial work, a lot of it you find out that day what you're going to be doing, and you kind of roll with it. Where film, they typically give you more time, and it depends on the role, and what type of role it is. Next I've got 2 horror films that I'm involved with next year.
That's great.
And one of them it doesn't film until June, and I have a supporting role in that one. And then there's another one that I have a principal lead role, and we've already done a trailer for it, which hasn't really been released, but it's going to be a fun project. And we have a director who she's just awesome. She knows what she wants out of each actor. She's sat, even with the trailer, she sat down individually with us before our scenes and said, "Here's what I'm really looking for," and it was really fun. It was a fun experience.
Ooh, those are the best when you feel like it's a collaborative experience. That is,
and that one was. Yep.
Those feel really fulfilling. It's interesting. I'm reading this book all about Chicago theater. It's called Ensemble, and it's all about the birth of ensemble and improvisation and the art of yes and really focusing either on the task at hand or the other, what does the other person need who's sitting here in front of me. So when you're constantly doing that, you're really able to kind of get out of your mind and out of the way of yourself, because you're able to really channel this into what's happening there in front of you. And it's great because when you got a whole set of people like that who are open to experimentation and allowing oneself to be in their element, holy cow, it's amazing when you can see the kind of magic that's unfolding there.
Big time.
So are you referring, is one of these projects Luna? I saw something Luna,
yes.
You play a Dark Lord. What was that like what did you do to prepare for that kind of crazy character?
That was, we had about, I'd say, a month prior to prepare for that. Now that we only did the trailer for, so I have plenty of time to prepare for the actual filming of that one.
That's cool.
So that was the one we did the trailer. So I literally go from looking like myself to looking like a vampire with the teeth or the fangs and the major makeup change to my face. And it was really fun. It was a really cool experience. And
so you had what, like prosthetics and stuff?
Oh yeah, I had the makeup took about 2 hours to redo my face.
Whoa, man.
The fangs that were in it was weird for, it's the first time I ever had fangs in my mouth. And it's interesting to try to talk with fangs in your mouth, is what I'll say. And then trying to talk with a blood capsule in your mouth that needs to explode upon you lifting your head up. That was a little challenging, I'll say.
Wow, that's like, those are like the kind of stories that you hear like on Roger Corman sets, or like Lloyd Kaufman with his Crazy Toxic Avenger, movies where these actors have to do like three things at once, and they've never done this before. It's so funny because I was going to ask you if you've ever played a role where you've worn prosthetics. So this is really cool. Was that your first time wearing prosthetics on your face? Yep,
first time. Yep, that it was, and it was pretty cool. It was a fun experience. I'd say the hardest part for me with that one was I had the contacts put on in my eye, and so my eyes looked a different, like a really blue color, so to speak. And the only downside was one of them ripped when they were putting it in, and my eye just wouldn't stop running. Until we finally figured out, it's like, hey, I got to take this out. My eye just wouldn't stop tearing. So I finally took it out, and it's like, yeah, it's ripped in half. No wonder.
Oh geez, the
Yeah.
teary-eyed vampire. That
Yep,
that too would be
exactly.
kind of scary. It's like he's just tearing up for that one eye. Reminds me of that James Bond movie that came out, Casino Royale, and the bad guy like he would bleed blood out of his eyeball every once in a while.
Yep,
Reminds me of that
exactly.
kind of thing. It's like what's more scary than a crying vampire who only cries out of one eye? I mean, it's
only
like,
cries
oh
blood.
God, what's going on there? Don't let his tears get on you. Don't let it happen. Who knows what'll happen? So, what kind of dream roles do you think that you? As maybe a secret agent, maybe a superhero, who knows?
I lost you a little bit there, but I think I understood most of your question with regards to what's my dream job.
Yeah, like your dream roles that you think that you'd like to play.
Yeah. Well, one of them is, I won't shy away, but, because I have a business background, I created a goal for myself within this industry, and one of my goals is to play a lead role on the Hallmark channel. That's literally a goal of mine. And I'm pushing for that, and I'm going to continue to hone my craft until I get the opportunity to hopefully do that one day.
Yeah, it's great because I was reading about that, and that was one of the questions I was going to ask you about is, so for instance, we typically kind of know what some of those Hallmark shows are like. What would be like your role on there that you can imagine, or what kind of storyline would be really cool that you think that you'd like to be a part of?
Well, I'd say there's a couple of them, but I definitely want to do a Christmas-themed one. I love the holidays. That's my favorite time of year. I am binge-watching all of the shows now. So what the storyline behind those are, they're kind of typically the same. But, I'd love to do one of those, and then I'd love to be involved with, I don't know, maybe a murder mystery or something to that effect.
Oh, that's cool. So wait, are you binge watching Hallmark Channel movie?
Yep, I'm
movies?
binge watching all of them. I'm doing all the Christmas movies. Yeah, so I've been watching them every day.
So the Hallmark ones, and also like what? Are you also watching like Christmas Story or Christmas Vacation? Any of those?
Oh, of course.
Oh my
Christmas
God.
Vacation is one of my favorites. I literally, I watched for the first time "It's a Wonderful Life" from start to finish yesterday.
Oh my
That was
God!
the first time ever.
Time? Holy cow! What emotional
First time start to
experience
finish. Oh, big time.
Holy cow!
Yeah, that was a fun one to watch. But it was the first time I watched it from start to finish. I've seen bits of it before, but never saw the whole thing.
Wow, man! So did you have the
fun.
family around? Were you able to watch it with the family?
No, everybody. I watched it late at night, so the kids were already passed out. And even if I put it on, they're kind of like, "Dad, another Christmas show, really?"
Yeah,
right. If it's Christmas Vacation, they'll watch it. If it's not, they won't.
Wow, that is incredible, man. Christmas Vacation is just so funny, and what do you say? He says, I'm gonna stick this where the sun don't shine or something. And the guy goes, and he's like, Clark, what did you say to me? And he's like, I wasn't talking to you or something like that. It's just, he looks like Jason from Friday the 13th, and he's got the big old chainsaw.
Oh yeah. He got the chainsaw. He walks outside to cut a tree down. Yep.
Yeah. And the big icicles smashes through their window. Yep. And oh my God, man, what a great.
Yeah, that was a funny show. Yeah. Like, that's a kind of like, I'm looking forward to doing some comedy work. I did my first short comedy film a couple months ago.
Oh, cool.
And it turned out pretty nice. It turned out pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to doing more of them. I just, I've got more dramatic stuff behind me so far, but like I said, I'm looking forward to doing some comedy. For me, I'm always looking to enhance my skills and try things that are a little bit out there that I haven't done before, because it's the only way I'm really going to stretch who I am as an actor.
Do you sing as well too?
I sing really well in my car.
Yes. Because I'm thinking, there, some. I was imagining like a Christmas musical movie or TV show. I think that's.
You never know. You never know.
So, what other talents do you have? Do you ride horses? Are you a swimmer? Are you a soccer player?
I do plenty of stuff. Since I have 4 kids, 4 boys, I'm a soccer. I was a soccer coach for about 12 years.
Oh, cool.
For one of my sons, and then another son for a couple of years, and then I retired this June. But then I became a basketball coach about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So now I'm a basketball coach, and I've realized that I need to learn a lot about basketball, a lot more than I knew. So I'm active. I'm always active in sports. I've been a swimmer all my life. I was a lifeguard when I was a kid and all that stuff. So, I'm an outdoor guy. So I can. I'm pretty athletic, so I can kind of figure most things out. I kind of self-teach myself most of the stuff that I do. I love playing football. I just have a blast going outside and either throwing a ball with my kid or doing something like that.
And I'm thinking too, what's great is since you're keeping in practice with all this stuff, it is great stuff for the resume because you're always actively participating in this kind of thing. So it's only a matter of time until you get cast, let's say in that Hallmark commercial, show where you play like the soccer coach, where you play the swim coach, all those various permutations. And have you produced any of your own creations? There was something I was watching when you had your own son in there.
Oh, you saw that was a film camp. So I'm friends with the director, and he does a film camp every year to teach teenagers about how to film, right? And so he was looking for an actor, and he asked me if I'd be the actor for him. I'm like, sure, no problem. And then I said, hey, would you mind if I brought my son? He goes, absolutely. So
wow.
So my son Ethan is 8 years old, and he loves it. And so he and I did it, and as we were rehearsing our lines, I'm like, "You got it, Ethan?" He goes, "Dad, I got my lines." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, got it.
And he had no issues at all being on set. He didn't care that a bunch of people were watching him or anything to that effect, which was really cool,
Yeah.
So it was really fun to be to watch him, be in his element and actually enjoy it. And he, he's been on multiple auditions now, and I can't talk about one of them, but he had a really, really nice audition last week. So we'll see what comes from it. But
wow,
he's done a couple jobs with me, and he's made some money.
That is incredible. Well, it's only a matter of time till you guys just start shooting your own stuff. I mean, why not? I mean, because in this day and age, like I've just started shooting stuff with just my iPhone, and I went online to find, various lenses that I could get for it, different, special lens cases to use those. And so I've just been playing with around a lot with my cell phone in recording stuff. And man, just that alone, I mean, the quality on that, just imagine if you were to compare that quality up to like a camcorder back in the day. I mean, the fact that we have this kind of technology just hanging out with us all the time. So I've started doing that myself. Like when I'm just having dinner with my sisters out someplace or something, I'll record the dinner, and then I'll just with the power of editing, I'll just cut something strange together. And it's just been such a thrill when you kind of become the media and you go, you know what? I'm not gonna wait around for someone to cast me as something. I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to play this or whatever. And let's just film it right over there near the couch, or let's go to there by the kitchen table, or let's move the furniture away from the wall and put up a green screen, and, oh my God, it's just amazing.
And I have a friend of mine that's a director. His name's Joe Schufrider, and he's the one that did the film camp, and we did a short together in the summertime that was the comedy, where I went back to him and said, hey man, we haven't filmed in a while, you want to do something? He goes, yeah, what are you thinking? And I told him I wanted to do a comedy. I gave him a couple suggestions, and 2 weeks later he had a script written, and,
oh man,
we got some talent together. We filmed it in my house. And I was I got producer credits on it. So, and we've got a couple more, in the works. We'll probably have like 2 or 3 more that we're looking to do together.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a blast.
In the industry, they appreciate when they see that actors are just, that's a surefire way of showing that you're a go-getter and that you're, you'll get the job done. You'll get the job done so much that you'll cast yourself in a project and create yourself. So it's like when they see something like that, I think they really admire that and are like, whoa, and then it just opens up their eyes. And especially when you got a few of them, then people are starting thinking, ooh, okay, well, could this turn into a longer form Netflix show or some on Hulu or what have you? So this is just really cool that you guys are combining your skills and creating stuff together.
And he, he's phenomenal. He's very good at writing scripts, and he's He does he does everything. He finds the music, he does the editing, but he's a go-getter too, and he gets it done quickly. And it's a good, it's a nice friendship that we've developed. And like I said, I look forward to doing some more stuff
Man,
with him.
that's the key right there. You got to form
Yep.
your own tribe, right? Did you notice that? Like
Yep.
when you start just going, okay, here, let's join forces. Let's join forces with that guy. Let's join forces with this guy. And next thing you know, each person is just perfect in their in their element, and everybody lets each other just do it. And holy cow, it's so cool.
Yep, exactly right. Yep.
That's just great, because with each experience that you create together, then that inspires you to want to go ahead and create another project. It just the momentum takes care of itself.
Yeah, exactly right. It certainly does.
That's awesome. Now, does anyone else in your family have creativity? Maybe some of them draw, maybe some of them write.
Not in my direct family, but my uncle who passed away about 6 weeks ago. He actually, I did his eulogy, and as I was collecting information about it when he was younger, and he was in the original Godfather because it was shot in Philadelphia. He was one of the background guys. Yep. So he was in the original one. But
incredible.
What I'd learned is that he had his own talk show back in the early 70s.
Whoa.
And it was like he was hosting a talk show before it even existed, which was really, cool to really understand what he did. And he created commercials for himself for the businesses he was in when he was younger. So he was kind of the first one that had really done anything in the industry and had success with it, and trying to follow in those footsteps and make him proud.
Wow, man, I love that. Yeah. That is so cool, man. Making his own. Now, is any of that stuff out on YouTube, or do you have any the tapes?
No, it was so old. I couldn't find anything. I did a decent search, on the web, and the only thing I have is that, there's a scene on obviously on the Godfather that I could find because that thing's so popular. But his stuff was so long ago, I couldn't find it anywhere. I mean, I didn't go. I don't even think Channel 48 exists anymore. But that was a local Philly channel that it was on way back when.
Wow, man, how incredible! It's always cool to hear those stories of how this stuff was, bouncing around in the family and the way that it's inspired the other family members. And it's great to see how then we can bring their legacy along with us as we move forward, and feel their vibe with us as we move forward.
Exactly.
It's just such a good feeling. Wow, man.
It certainly is, no doubt.
Are there any other new projects that are coming up that you'd like to alert people to?
Well, I'd give a little alert to something that we did about a year ago, called Unclaimed Remains, and it's a film about the Vietnam War, the Korean War, where military personnel that had died in the war, their remains were basically cremated and put into urns and boxes and all that stuff, and they're just sitting on shelves around the world. So this is a real story, or true story, and it started hitting the film festivals about 2 months ago. It's already won 30 awards so far. It's got about an 88% rate for it's been submitted and it made it to the festival, which is pretty high, I think. But it's my first one that's really gotten a lot of attention, and I hope it continues to do, because it's something that I think needs to get out there. And if we could make a film that has people find closure with a loved one that passed away years ago, how phenomenal would that be?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. So with this, I was reading online, you got to meet some of these veterans up close. Have you guys thought about doing some screenings at maybe some of the American Legions or the VFW, at any of those kinds of places?
We actually filmed it in a VFW, and so it was great meeting the veterans, because they really made sure that everything was authentic and that it really told the correct story, and don't do this because that didn't happen back then, but make sure, you know what I mean?
Well, that's good. So they were making sure it was accurate, and those who would watch for those details would be like, okay, cool, they got it.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that might be part of the reason why it's receiving the accolades that it is. I think the story is helping with it. I'll give myself a little shout out. About 3 weeks ago, I got a call from producers saying, "Hey, you won Best Supporting Actor for our film
Incredible.
in one of the festivals out in LA," which was really cool. So that just kind of gave me the, hey, you know what? You're doing the right stuff. Keep going for it.
Yes,
It's
yes.
just one of those, taps on the back that said, hey, you're recognized among your peers for doing a good job, and keep at it.
So have you had the pleasure of being in some of these screenings, and being there with the vibe of the audience as they're watching this stuff?
Not yet, no. They just haven't had any locally yet. I honestly haven't seen it, so I'd love to go to one so I could actually see it, because it's since it's in the festival circuit, it's not like something that can be watched, you know what I mean, or aired or put out publicly yet.
Right,
so.
right. But I'm thinking, like when you go, once you sit in that, and you sit out there in that, in an actual screening with people around you, holy moly, at these.
Yeah, I
look
forward to doing that.
Yeah,
yep,
it's
I
great.
did that a couple years ago. We had my first short film was called Tit for Tat, and I played the NFL commissioner, and it's a story about CTE. It's another one of those. It's not it's a fictional written story, but it's a real issue with regards to NFL players and concussions and CTE and all that stuff. And it won it made it to a festival. It didn't win any awards, but we were nominated for best film, and we were runner up. So
that's
it
fantastic.
was a cool experience. Yeah, it was a fun experience.
Wow, man, that's awesome. It's cool when you see people react to your movies in ways that you might not have expected them to, or they're laughing at certain things you're like, oh,
exactly.
wait, that was really supposed to be a joke, but holy cow, now that I see it in that context, that is kind of a joke. It is funny how it's like, you just don't have the luxury of test audiences, so to speak. So there they are. It's like just right there in front of everybody for the first time, and it's always such a charming experience to come across something like that. Now, do you also write?
No, I haven't delved into that. I'm thinking about it. I just haven't. I can tell you what I have done. I've written a short story.
Cool.
So I love, I think improv comes naturally to me just because of, I tell my kid bedtime stories all the time, right? And we make stuff up, and we have a lot of fun with it. So one story we said, hey, why don't we turn it into a book? So I wrote the story. I had somebody that was a writer look at it and say, here, let's make these tweaks. We made the tweaks, and so it's now, I have an illustrator looking at it right now. It's a slow process. It's a holiday themed kids story, so it probably won't come out until next year. But
wow!
But it's
cool.
it was the first one that I did, and we'll see how it goes, and then hopefully we'll make more from there. And I've got a story that I wanted to write. I just got to figure out where to begin.
Well, and plus, gosh, these stories could easily be made into movies. I mean, that's how. That's how I just imagine, like, you always hear about how, like, J.K. Rowling, she was just telling her kids stories, and all of a sudden they became books, and then all of a sudden those books became movies, and those became action figures, and it became an entire theme park. So it's so crazy. You just never know how something is going to take shape and move in that direction with that momentum. And man, that's just kick ass.
Yeah, exactly.
So one other thing I wanted to I was just curious about this. I saw this Hershey Park thing that you did. I didn't even know that there existed a Hershey Park, and it was intriguing to me because it looked like there was like a Reese's peanut butter cup or something walking along. And have you been to that place? Did they actually shoot there?
Oh yeah, Hershey Park's been around forever. I went there, and I went there when I was like 10 years old. Back in the, I won't date myself, but back in the 70s, I'll say, I went there as a kid and had a blast. And then when I went back to film there, we literally rode the ride about 25 times over the course of 2 days.
Oh my God.
But it was a blast. I took the Dramamine to make sure that I wouldn't get sick.
Oh my God, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, but it was a fun experience. I had a blast. I have some friends that I think I have lifelong friends now because of it. And it was a really, really fun experience.
What a cool thing to think that you were a little kid who went there, and then little did you realize that your future self would end up like being in a commercial there and riding the rides for
Yeah.
free for umpteen times. I mean, that's just,
Yeah, you would never
incredible.
imagine that. That's for sure.
So what other kinds of interesting mascots do they have out there at this Hershey Park? I've been wondering.
They have everything. They have Hershey bars and Reese's bars and Hershey Kisses. I mean, you think of Hershey, you know, the chocolates. That's where it all came from. It's where it all started, out in Hershey, PA.
Holy cow! So is every single gift shop, is every single thing just like a chocolate thing? Chocolate.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They have a whole chocolate factory that you get to go through and all. Yeah, it's a really fun experience. There's no doubt.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, are there any before I let you go, are there any special Instagram places where people can find you, or LinkedIn, or what kind of social networks or things would you like people to really be pointed to check out some of the stuff that you've been working on? Let's say they want to hire you, who knows what, check out your demo reels.
Sure. The easiest way to find me social media is just put in my entire name, Mike A. Provenzano, and you can use that on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. It's all the same, so it's easy to find me. If you find a Mike Provenzano without a picture, it's not me. You can find me on LinkedIn under Mike Provenzano as well. I'm also on, obviously, my website at www.mikeprov. If somebody's looking for me, and my kid just walked in the room. Hang on, Ethan. Let me think of where else. They're the main, I'm on LinkedIn, as I think I already said that. So I'm on all the social medias that I should be on. I wasn't on social media until I started doing this, so now everything that I do is related to this work I do.
Wow. I
do have a small YouTube website, look up Mike Provenzano and find me there. I do have an IMDb page as well. So I'm doing everything I should be doing as far as marketing myself.
The man about town. Got all the tentacles in order, huh? Got all the tentacles.
Trying to.
It's great.
trying to keep them updated. It's a whole different story, but I'm out there.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you, Jules Levely, for just introducing us in the first place. And Mike, thank you so much for taking time out to talk about this. I'll get this uploaded. I'm going to add a few other things to this. And then once it's up, then I'll send you the link. And for those of you who are listening to this, you're either listening to this on Spotify or iHeart or Mixcloud or TuneIn or Stitcher, Spreaker, Breaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all kinds of places out there. So wherever you're listening to this, thank you so much for listening, and please check out Mike's stuff. And we'll talk to you guys later. And Mike, I'd love to have you on a show once as some time goes on, you continue to accumulate new projects.
And Kurt, I would love to be on with you again as well. And let me just make sure that I say thanks to Jules for the introduction to us as well. She's been really a great gal to be friends with, and she's really helped me get some of the stuff out there. She's done a great job at writing for me.
Yeah, if you guys
making some connections.
If you guys want to see those articles, there's a couple of them that I read. So look for Jules Lavalee. That's Jules Lavalee, and then Mike Provenzano, Provenzano. So just type those into the Google search engine, and then you will come across those articles, and and you get to learn a lot more about Mike than we even covered here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you so much, and you have a great night.
Thanks. You do the same, Kurt. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care. Bye.
All right, take care. All right, bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. This is Tanika Drake from God's Gift Through His Word. You are tuned in to Inspirado Projecto, for the podcaster's holiday party that will be held at the Grafton Hotel at the Bar 20 restaurant. Please make plans to attend. It's going to be great, and we are striving for 25 people to come on out to bring out Pastor Jay from Walk in Truth Radio. So help me, help you, help us have an amazing time. I'm looking forward to meeting some great people again, and I can't wait. So plan on the Podcasters Holiday Party, December 14th, which is a Saturday, from 5 to 8 p.m. Come out and tell all your Southern California podcasters and podcasters that want to come out and enjoy the show.
And now the sound of Gonzo the cat eating. Dr. Gonzo eating. Are you enjoying those tender victuals? Are you chomping on those delicious morsels? Are you crunchy on those gizzards and giblets? Are you finding the tastes you're looking for? Is it the bee's knees? Inquiring minds want to know. Is it ever so delicioso? Does it taste the way you always dreamed it would? Is it a marvelous sensation betwixt your canines? Remember, folks, canines. Remember, felines have canines. Very important fact here, since we're dealing with Latin. Canis lupine, as they call the feline, the lupine. Is that a lupine tree I smell? Lupine cone? Tastes delicious. Succulent nougat. Succulent nougat. And now welcome a new character. His name is Marky, and he's an orange cat. He likes to purr quite a bit. Over here we have the orange cat Marky, who likes to purr. And over here, Dr. Gonzo, who's eating. Chomping on a feast. And now Marky comes in his orange coat, and he wants to eat. He wants to try to eat Dr. Gonzo's food. And to that I say, hey, nonny, bah humbug. That is bad manners, and that is rude. Behave yourself. You are a feline. You're not a barbarian. You're not a barbarian. You're a feline. You're a feline, now damn well act like it. You, sir, are a feline. Now you damn act like it. You act like a feline. You're not a barbarian. You're certainly not a barbarian. You're a feline. Put yourself to the test. Put yourself to the test and use your canines, you feline. But don't eat this food because it's not yours. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. No. Ah, you feline. You go over there, feline. Don't you dare try to eat this young man's food. No matter how much you purr. No matter how much you purr, you will not sway my decisions in letting you eat Dr. Gonzo's food. Are you enjoying your food here, Dr. Gonzo? Is it riveting? Look at that, we've got a secret observer on the side here, an orange cat named Marky watching up close and personal. How about we keep you distracted with some more pets here? Get you purring instead of hankering for some of your brother's food stuff. So it's not right. You're a feline. Now, for crying out loud, you act like it. You act like it, or I'm reporting you to the cat authority. I'm reporting you to the cat authority. Would you like that? I do not think so. I do not think so. I do not think so.
How's that food coming along, man? Is it tasty? Is it tasty, Licious? You tell me. You tell me.